Take your seats for the high-speed history of what proved to be a bizarre and incalculable year.
And you're ready? Video? Sound? Camera 1 and 2.
Action!
You've got to run in this race, you've got to take it to the top. Get us out and make the pace, the winner takes it all. Run in this race to be the hero on the track. Run in this race till the champion is back.
A new challenge for West McLaren Mercedes. Now in its 7th year, the partnership has notched up 30 Formula One victories in the last 83 races and 2 drivers and 1 constructors' world championship titles. The season opener in Melbourne is this lineup's 100th Grand Prix. Time to ponder on victory and silver.
We started with a silver arrow 1937, won immediately the first race. They came back in the 50s with a silver car, won immediately. This special moment from Australia in 1997, a new form of a silver car, and immediately won again.
Reality is you can't win all the races. When someone says that to me, I always ask why not, but the fact is you can't.
From the start, the season shapes up for a 3-way contest: red, silver, white, blue. David Coulthard offsets Mika Häkkinen's 2 dropouts at the start with a 2nd place in Australia, 3rd place in Malaysia and a win in Brazil. But the moving pictures show how wrong you'd been again to reckon without Michael Schumacher. A journey to the roots of torque. The power machine is in Stuttgart, where the single cylinder has Mika Häkkinen marvelling at the amazing way it can be broken down. This is just 1/10 of the whole.
The 1 cylinder, yes. How many horsepower does 1 cylinder create? 1/10 of the real engine. Exactly.
At the interface between the inner and outer worlds, the stationary test bench makes it possible to simulate the car's status at any moment on any Grand Prix circuit.
When the piston is in the top, the balance shaft pulls it down, so it always compensates.
From Barcelona onwards, electronic traction control is allowed once again. With the Frontiers pushed back once more, the tempo grows ever more demented. Close to the course, we witness curve speeds that are too fast for the mind to follow. The new technology may make things a lot simpler, but the lure of the possible beckons towards the no man's land of physics and its frontiers, and beyond. A get-together for the lads who come top of the Who's Fastest class. A bunch of bright young men dressed up to the nines, sipping lemonade. You won't often glimpse them all in one place, and never as laid back as now, before Sunday's drivers' parade. Traction control, so they say, has brought changes with it, redefining where the limits are. In a similar, relaxed mood, we'll soften the focus on the brutal struggle for hundredths of a second and relish it in slow motion. In the eternal quest for the ultimate edge, there's scope to learn more about coming out of the corners. The new technology hasn't detracted from the visual excitement either. A reflex is what it always was, a reflex. And what it all adds up to is acrobatics with no holds barred. The passions of the chaos lapse over, the drivers return to their peaceful Saturday afternoon ritual, going home at the end of the qualifying session, with a pretty good idea of what lies in store for the Sunday. Even the remote control era has done nothing to fade the fascination of being there. Race day is definitely the place to mull over plans for the future. And then there are moments which just can't be true. David and Mika are dogged by persistent technical effects. It's proving an aggravating season for McLaren Mercedes. Hakkinen takes the brunt of it with too many breakdowns, like at Austria's A1 ring, where David Coulthard not only takes advantage of an ideal pit stop strategy, but drives brilliantly to beat the two Ferraris to the finish. Fluctuating fortunes and emotional ups and downs, David wins in Austria, and in Barcelona, Mika forfeits a seemingly certain victory 4 corners from home. The team mourns Paul Morgan, Mario Illien's partner, who died in his beloved vintage biplane. In Monaco, David fails to get away from his pole position. In the end, he claws his way back to 5th place. The team makes a concerted effort to heave itself out of the mid-season slump. There has to be more in it than this. A wave of fresh energy goes through the whole team, and everyone involved sets to work with renewed determination. At Mercedes, McLaren, Bridgestone, Mobile, and of course the lads up front who do their level best. Every improvement is then tried out by test driver Alexander Wurz to see the value in terms of tenths of a second.
Natürlich müssen wir das ganze Team arbeiten, aber das funktioniert ja bei West McLaren Mercedes perfekt. Das ist wirklich ein Team, so wie es im Lexikon steht unter Team. Das heißt, jeder arbeitet an einem Ziel.
riders take up the challenge on equal terms. The duels are thrilling, but in the fiercely competitive world of motor racing's Premium League, there are no bonuses for a poor start. Ferrari and Schumacher are too far ahead on the points list to wrest the lead from them at this stage. At Silverstone, Hakkinen scores a spectacular sovereign victory. The two-time world champion is back with a vengeance. He overtakes Michael Schumacher in true champion style to garner the Silverstone Grand Prix for the silver team. David puts up a tough fight in pursuit of the championship leader, but the German driver sews it up in Hungary with his fourth career title and the second for Ferrari. In Frankfurt, Jürgen Hubert presents the Mercedes SL55 AMG, which made its debut as Formula One safety car in Hockenheim. SL and AMG, the strategist and the racing driver, and the 100 years behind them. It's the same old story, a story of passion. The name Mercedes has been synonymous with motor racing for a century now. The Jubilee is celebrated on the Côte d'Azur, where the original young woman called Mercedes lived, and where her true sister now waves the starting flag. The weather is uncooperative, but not so the magnificent vehicles that document the past decades. They've been kept in trim in their pristine state at the museum in Untertürkheim. The colour silver was adopted after a third of the century had elapsed. To this day, it articulates a passion for technical and sporting excellence in the inimitable Mercedes style. We're back in the thick of things. The battle for second place in the Drivers' and Constructors' Championships is contested by McLaren Mercedes and Williams BMW. The blue and white cars put on a strong showing in Monza. Juan Pablo Montoya sweeps to his first Grand Prix victory, while Mika Hakkinen is receiving bad news in the telemetric system. A call from the command centre summons him back to the pits. A defective electronic chip retires him from the race. It was in Monza that Mika announced his plans for taking time out. Motor racing will miss one of its most loved idols, for a while at least. But we haven't nearly finished with the racing season yet. In Indianapolis, they'll tell you getting the pit stops right is half the battle. Extra practice. The whole team is determined to show it's back in form. 0 in Monza, maybe hero in Indy. The will to win is there. In the wake of the terrorist attacks in the United States, the race is a highly emotional occasion. On the weekend of his 33rd birthday, Mika wins his 20th Grand Prix. Mika Hakkinen puts on one of his finest performances. This is the way a champion takes his bow, even if it's only for a while. The US Grand Prix is symptomatic of the whole season's ups and downs, and of the team's ability to pull itself up by its bootstraps again and again. David Coulthard comes in third, securing second place in the Drivers' and the Constructors' Championship for himself and the West McLaren Mercedes team.
There was nothing that I could turned your back and you just walked away. Leaves me numb inside.
Triumph in the legendary oval at Indianapolis. Not just for Mika, it's an amazing and extraordinary victory that everyone in the team is overjoyed at having made the best of the season in the end. Neither the team nor the drivers ended the last 4 seasons lower than second in the World Championship. In a rare show of unanimity, the racing world showers its love on Mika, and America pays him its respects. He's everybody's darling at Indy. Formula One's longest partnership comes to an end after 6 years. David and Mika have been colleagues, rivals and friends in need. A close-knit known quantity in the Formula One world and an oasis of team spirit. This is a foundation to build on. There are thrilling new goals on the horizon for the small and the large family.